Oh, what up, brother?
Hi, Sean.
Do I have to? You can hear me and everything? Do I need to push? Oh, video. That's what I don't have.
There we go.
Yes! How are you?
Yes, I'm excellent. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I almost peed my pants.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you.
I know, man. It was way too short this summer.
I know.
Like, yeah, anyways, that's how it goes sometimes. But I have a good feeling that things are going to get, I don't know,
Oh,
better
things are
as
definitely going to get
the
better.
years go on. They keep getting better, of course, but as far as like skate trips and hanging out and seeing each other, I look forward
It's
to it.
true. Yes. Once everyone's kids get a little bit older and once this coronavirus gets taken care of, we'll
I
have
know.
lots of
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities.
Well, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about well, on both fronts. The kids are
Yeah.
definitely getting older, and coronavirus, well, I don't know. It's up and down, but good news with the vaccine news. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
Do you keep
see.
up with it in a big way?
A little bit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
pay attention to a few things, but
I know. It's like exhausting.
yeah, it is. And
Eventually, I just gave up.
it's hard to know what to believe, really.
It is true.
It's
Yeah.
hard to know, what is the right thing for people to be doing.
Like Cairo. Well,
Yeah.
in general, like this time in our life, it's hard to decipher what is like fact from fiction.
Yeah.
Like I find myself questioning things that maybe I shouldn't be questioning, and I get confused way more than I should. Like I do find it's a confusing time.
It's a confusing time when it comes to information
Right.
from the
Totally.
media.
That's true.
All these media outlets have an agenda, and it's it's
I
been
know.
proven they're not just presenting facts. They're
No.
trying to convince you of something.
Yeah. And when you have and it's so easy, like the whole idea of like an echo chamber, it's so easy to,
Right.
get into a tunnel and then, let all the same voices reverberate back and just get the same information.
It's so
It's hard.
pleasing.
It's
It's so
interesting.
pleasing to hear things that you believe in.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard
yeah.
to
Well,
it's hard to listen to things that you're like, no, I don't agree. I don't agree. It's there's like a pleasure release in your mind when your ideas and your beliefs are reinforced. So
huh.
people just you're right. It's an echo chamber.
Yeah. I can't remember the author, but I read this really good book. Like right when I'm good for reading like one book a year,
Yeah.
but I like to really read it, even though like the details at this point are sketchy because this was back in like March when we first got locked down. But the book was The Death of Expertise, something like this,
Right.
somewhere close. And it was really interesting because he kind of laid out a hypothesis, about how, well, it was focused more on the United States, but how people, let's see. So the examples he would give were like news talk radio. That was kind of the beginning of it, where people are part of the show and they're phoning in and they're hearing like-minded voices, and they're the total echo chamber that direction. And then he went into how universities and colleges, they just cater to the students and they're not places of learning. It's just places to go for the college experience, and they're marketing like the college experience, like come and check out our sweet dorm rooms and like we got
Right.
a sweet pool over here. But who cares about the education? It's just like people feel emboldened that it's my right to go to university and get a degree, and you cannot fail me no matter like how poorly I do, and I'm here for the
Right.
experience and ready to move on. So people think they're smarter than they actually are, and then they don't trust experts. Like they naturally fear kind of the egg brained scientific mind. They go, no, like scientists, they don't know nothing. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. It's an interesting time. That was really cool. It's been influencing my perspective over the last, I don't know, few months or whatever. Trying
It's
to figure out
interesting.
like, oh, where am I actually like getting my information from? How am I actually navigating these things? But
It's overwhelming. It
it's
really is
overwhelming. Yeah.
overwhelming.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's uh it's really nice to be involved with a rollerblading with a rollerblading like activity, like with
Yeah.
an activity like rollerblading, something that is to me it's still a pure thing, like when I just like put my skates on and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just in that zone.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away all the confusion about like what's going on in the world, and it's just like this pleasure place where it's just like
Totally.
it feels so good because it feels separate from politics, separate from all the coronavirus economy bullshit. It's just like this, you're experiencing your body and you're experiencing movement, and it's this
Totally.
like it's the most human aspect of my experience. It feels like
Yeah.
it's like
I know what
sex,
you
like everything else just goes away, and it's just like
Right.
the
It's the
activity.
good. Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. And like, I mean, I don't know. I do like let my mind go into those places and wonder like blah 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 blah. But for the most part, like, yeah, rollerblading steers the ship. Like, to me, my life goal is to like share what I love, and that's rollerblading by, teaching kids and parents and old folks how to skate and making videos and or just like skating for the love of it, but putting it out there, and then it kind of gives me that purpose. So I don't have to worry so much about all the other BS. You'd be like, this is what I'm here to do.
Right.
So here I go to do it, and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, and you've really your journey in skating has been a really interesting one, I think, because you started off as like an aggressive skater,
Yeah.
and I was actually surprised when I started noticing you really going into the big wheel stuff, because you're pretty dedicated to like wizard frames and big wheels.
Yeah.
That's mostly, it seems like you're skating bigger wheels
Yeah.
and not aggressives.
So yeah, it's been a while since I've had an aggressive setup. I
So
did
you don't
a
even have
few
an
real
aggressive setup right now. You're just
No,
all
like I got some frames in the garage, but
yeah.
half the wheels are on some other piece. Like I've parted them out and given them away as other people have needed wheels or whatever. I was so I set up. Um, yeah, so I guess at a certain point, like many years ago, I like it just hurt to go aggressive skating. Like even just sessioning a ledge, like jumping on and jumping off, it hurt my joints. Like
Yeah.
that didn't feel like there was anything new, and I wasn't like overly inspired. It was fun to go out and see the friends and session a few things. There was enough there keeping me coming back, but I wasn't like inspired in a big way.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just got sore, and I don't know. I was looking for something else, and then I had a pair of those rollerblade Fusion, I think maybe X3. They're like the clear boot with the funky liner inside,
Yeah.
and it had an 80 millimeter frame it wasn't a 243, it was like stretched out a little bit. And I
Okay.
remember taking those to the skate park and being like, oh wow, it feels like a little bit like I'm skiing. Like I got this long base and I'm locked in, and I could skate fast, and I could hit a grind or two if I wanted to, but I just more enjoyed skating around. And that kind
Right.
of took me on that journey. And like since then, it's like been pretty much all that. Like I've aggressive skating. Um, I if I'm watching skating in general, that's like my favorite to watch. I find it the most entertaining. I love watching Alex Broskow or Billy O'Neill just because they can land tricks so cleanly. And the craziest things that you should never be able to land.
Yeah.
But I watch it and I see their amazing landings and all the creativity that goes into it. So I still love it. But, if I go to the skate park with a pair of aggressive skates on, I'll just be doing the same things I'd be doing on my wizard skates. So then I
Right.
decide I'll just wear my wizard skates every time because that's what I want to wear. And I'm happy with those for sure.
Yeah. They're definitely like the feeling of it is so much
Yeah.
better. I mean,
Yeah. I
the
find that like,
speed and the fluidity
yeah.
and the stability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, I enjoy. So I think with aggressive skating, you get more into using the boots and less the wheels in some cases. And I think
Right.
aggressive skating's changing and more skating is being incorporated into the grinding and whatnot. But generally, you're using the boots and the frames, and you're not really rollerblading. Certainly, they're skating. But I mean, there was a time when I would session rails and just land in grass or
Yeah.
left turn.
Yeah.
And the rolling away meant nothing. It
Yeah.
meant nothing. It was all about grinding. But now it's kind of like, well, I'm more about the rolling, the feeling of wheels under my feet, and just skating. Um,
Yeah. It's interesting
uh,
for you, especially because it's pretty drastic. Because you did used to, like, people might not even realize that you used to skate really like long rails, really big like
yeah,
kinkers and stuff, and a lot of
yeah,
them were like into grass.
right.
So that's why it was surprising in the beginning to see, oh, Shaun's like really getting into the big wheel stuff. It was a drastic change from the Shaun Unwin that I grew up, watching you skate.
Right,
So
I
it's
know.
interesting.
It's so funny. Yeah, yeah. And at this point, I like have for myself, I have basically zero interest in grinding anything,
Yeah.
like nothing at all. Um, yeah, like
You still got it though. You can still. There was that in gig you soul grinded that kinker in the Flames jersey.
yes, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
crazy.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, yeah. You know what? This year, well, usually it was like okay, once for the last couple of years, it was like once a year I'm good to go and like grind some rails. But
Once
it
a
was like
year,
one
the
day a
annual.
year. That was it.
Yeah.
But this year it didn't even happen. I don't think I
Yeah.
grinded a single thing. Yeah, I mean, I like the option perhaps because I like to think of like skating as like A to B. Those are the confines I put on it, and then getting creative in that space. Like, okay, I'm going to start at the top of the staircase, and I'm going to end down here on this street.
Right.
And then, I'll look behind me and say, oh, maybe I can start further back, or maybe I can end a little further. But, in between those 2 points, there's infinite possibilities.
Totally.
So, I kind of find what works good for my flow. And, if there's a set of stairs, you can jump the stairs, you can roll down the stairs, you can grind the stairs. Oh, I was getting a little chilly.
Oh, there we go.
Of course. Thank you very much. I love this shirt, by the way. So, I think of it as A to B. So the option of being able to grind down a set of stairs, if it presented itself in, that kind of flowing through this space,
Yeah.
could be kind of cool. But generally, like, when I'm like, you've seen me skate, like, how
Yeah.
slow do I approach a rail? Like, I'm not bombing at this thing and then I'm able to like jump quickly. I'm like, okay, this is exactly where I'm going to jump on. I'm going to roll at this angle. I'm going to jump.
Right.
I'm going to lock. I'm going to slide down. So it kills the flow a little bit.
Definitely.
If I could fly at a rail and do some of the stuff that, I don't know, Danny Beer does or something, then cool. But that was never my style.
Yeah.
Much
So
more calculated.
you also teach skating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like my number one mission for sure in life. Yeah.
So you did the certification and all that?
I did. Yeah. So I have like 2 certifications. I would like to do plenty more for sure, but I have like level 1 and level 2 skate IA certifications. So those were like amazing building blocks and a great foundation. But
yeah, I was going to ask,
years,
like, it obviously it helped with your teaching abilities to get this certification. Like they have good methods for teaching beginners and things like that.
So I would highly recommend it to like anybody out there in the world. Like if you can take a skate IA certification and get that background and become like a qualified instructor, even if you have no, you're not planning on teaching lessons at all, but just for your own sake and understanding of skating, like do it.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, definitely I was going to say as a teacher, I feel like maybe I kind of found my own way without skate IA, but not really. They're like totally intertwined for sure.
Right.
But the thing that I fall back on with skate IA is like the fundamentals of breaking down movements. And very simply, they break it down as balance, rotation, edging, weight transfer. So BREW is the acronym.
Oh, okay.
But, if I see someone doing something and I'm like, I want to teach myself that, I look at those components. But more recently, I've also been looking at pressure application, slightly different than weight transfer. So I'm kind of wrapping my brain about this because, you can shift your weight into one foot or into an edge, but there's also a driving force. You're not just necessarily putting your weight into it. You're putting, you're putting muscle into it, so to speak. So there's a bit of a driving force along with an edging, creating a pressure application that does different things than simply a weight transfer and an edging would.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been thinking about this lately. That's why.
No, I love it. That's so interesting. I'm doing my best to follow you. I
Sure.
can tell that you've really like broken a lot of these concepts down. It's interesting. And I want to hear more about it. So like, because I can tell based on your skating and the moves that you do, you've conceptualized these things a lot. And you've broke them down.
Mm-hmm.
So explain, like, I don't know, like, I don't even fully know where I'm going with this, but explain how some of these concepts have like influenced your skating, or how you've applied them to your skating.
So, I'm a fan of skating, so I'll watch YouTube videos or Instagram videos, and I'll see something that will stand out to me, something that looks unique or whatever. And I think, okay, like I want to be able to put that into my skating. And again, my skating is, like A to B, like moving through the space in a creative way. But, I can like plug and play different parts. If I have a different tool in the toolbox,
Yeah.
if I'm turning a corner, I could maybe do something a little bit different. So I might pick that up from somebody else. So then generally my process would be to, if I don't immediately understand what they're doing, I will, screen record it somehow, and then I'll break it down in slow motion, and then I'll look for those parts. I'm like, okay, as he enters this move,
Yeah.
he's rotated this way. Maybe he's entering backwards, so he's looking over this shoulder. How are his hips turned? Which foot is leading? Which edges is he on? Where does it look like his balance is? And I'm like, okay, that's how he enters. And then like, what's the dynamic motion? Like, how is he moving through it? So like maybe thinking of like a gazelle, just as like a general example, the classic gazelle, awesome move. Everyone needs to work on this. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But like, so watching Leon and Stu and Colin doing their wizard. Remember those wizard moves?
Skate
wizard
moves. Skate moves.
Skate moves. Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched those
amazing.
on slow motion, like ridiculous, and then I would break it down and write it down in my phone. But so you're taking the gazelle. So in that case, Leon would say your hips are open to the circle. Basically, he's oh my gosh. So okay, imagine he's going around the circle counterclockwise. So now he's rotated, going counterclockwise to be rotated to his left. His left foot would be leading the right. His left foot's on the inside edge. His right foot's on the outside edge. Right, and then he's going to continue to rotate to his left as the weight transfers from the toes to the heels. Now pressure through the heels as he finishes the rotation and changes the edges from, now his left foot is going to be from the inside to the outside edge. So his edges are flipping essentially to corresponding edges that way.
Right.
And then different things happen on the finish. Like sometimes there's a counter rotation on the finish. Sometimes he's rotated in. It's always really stylish in skating, and you see this a lot in aggressive skating, is the finish in a counter rotated position.
Right.
Where the hips are turned one way and the shoulders might be turned the other way. So you're like kind of leaving your arms behind your body. If that makes sense.
No, it does. The feeling of, as Leon would describe it, catching the gazelle is such an amazing feeling, and it's so interesting to hear you break it down, because there are so many moving parts that create the feeling of it and the look of just a gazelle. I think the gazelle has become like this iconic movement for wizard skating, and so many new maneuvers are based upon this gazelle.
I know, it's amazing.
It's so interesting that we just started doing it too. Like we were skating for what, like over 20 years before someone like did a gazelle and kind of defined it and then taught others. It's interesting that the gazelle is like a new idea and a new movement.
Well, it's new to us,
Right.
but it's a figure skating move.
Is a
It's a
gazelle?
three turn.
Is it really? Is it a?
So in figure skating, the three turns don't look the same at all. The
Yeah.
blade is much shorter, so you don't have that exaggerated, rotation and edge to edge feel that you get in a gazelle,
Yeah.
as we know it, with like a longer frame and the different stability factors built into like a wizard skate or something. But three turns are, you know, level one figure skating.
And it's
And
called a
it's
three turn,
a three turn, yeah.
and it's similar to a gazelle.
Yeah, so generally in figure skating, it's not a lot of moves are done on 2 feet. So you would have,
Right.
what in wizard skating we call like the lions, right? All the 1 foot three turns. So
Yeah.
that's like figure skating moves, right? And definitely on inline skates, it has a different feel and a different aesthetic, which I absolutely love. That isn't necessarily apparent in the figure skating, but yeah, those three turns are all from figure skating.
Right. I need to study more of figure skating.
Oh, dude, I love it, man. I really want to get a pair of those inline figure skates.
Inline figure skates.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like maybe a more like a better term for this. I'm not sure exactly how they label these things, but
But they're basically like
um,
what a figure skater would use if they were interested in inline. They would get
yeah, right. So
figure inline skates, whatever.
right, it looks like they have like 4 or 5 smaller wheels and like kind of a
Okay.
stopper at the toe, and then it's a figure skating kind of boot.
Wow.
Um,
Interesting. That's
so
crazy.
cool, yeah.
Yeah. Why
It
have
would
I
be
never
fun to
seen
mess.
this?
Right. Oh man, yeah, yeah. I guess I saw it here and there, like over the last whatever 10 years, something like this. Um, but Instagram's amazing for this sort of thing. So
Right.
something pops up, I see people, ice rinks are closed,
Yeah.
certainly over the summer and this year in general, like public places like this are all closed. So they were, it was like a push. Well, inline skating in general had a huge push this year.
Yeah.
So people that were into figure skating, I think moved over to inline figure skating so they could keep up with their passion and their love. And there's all kinds of great videos of, you know, guys and girls, and sometimes they're at like a skate park doing figure skating moves, not really using the skate park, but using it as just a flat ground to mess around. But it makes an interesting
Right.
backdrop and kind
Yeah.
of, if you had figure, like what could you do at a skate park with these things? Would be fun.
Definitely.
Really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have seen a few of those figure skating videos. I just didn't really take too much note of their skates because it does seem like most of them would just mainly be on ice, so there wouldn't be a
Yeah.
huge market for like specific inline figure skates. But as time goes on, or maybe as rinks continue to be closed, there would be more of a push, more of an industry for like figure skating specific skates, which is an
Yeah.
interesting thought, right?
Yeah.
I was having this thought, and you used to play hockey, right?
Yeah.
So you might be a good person to talk to about this. Like, do you think that it's possible that hockey would ever move to primarily inline hockey? Like, do you think? I know that
Yeah.
NHL and nostalgic hockey fans, they're used to the ice and everything, but it just seems so much more economical for to not have to worry about the ice, right? And if
Interesting.
and if hockey could be, do you think hockey could ever be even faster and more powerful on like the right kind of skates?
Interesting. Well, I think a couple things there. I guess maybe this wouldn't necessarily preclude the other. However, a big part of hockey and professional hockey certainly is like getting everybody into a big building and buying tickets.
Yeah, the
So they'd have to
industry of
like
it.
keep that side of things, like,
Yeah,
they have to confine it in some way where they can monetize it by selling
yeah.
tickets and whatever. But I
It would have
mean,
to be
I
like a
guess that would
derby
preclude
rink
it
or
from.
something. They do
Yeah,
it in hockey. It's basically a hockey rink, but without the ice
without the
setup,
ice.
right?
Yeah. So I would say the interaction between wheels and concrete and blades and ice, is quite a bit different, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
blades are destroying the ice, the concrete's destroying your wheels,
Yeah.
the friction forces and all these things are different.
Yeah.
So it's a different game on inline skates. Um, I do think it could be faster on inline skates. There's definitely that possibility. However, the start and stop action that you can do on ice, being able to stop instantly, like on inline skates, there's no 100% instant stop move. It doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, so yeah, it would be a different game. I think um, ice hockey will stick around for what it
Yeah,
is that
for
like
sure.
powerful, you know, quick stop, the acceleration that they get, the quick running starts. Ice skates are lighter than inline skates.
Right.
There's a few factors there to consider. No, but I think the start and stop, ability with blades on ice, um, is kind of makes it unique to ice hockey.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. I've only recently purchased a hockey stick. I
Ooh,
never played
nice.
hockey,
Yeah, yeah.
but like the feeling of just rolling around with a hockey stick and kind of like controlling a ball is so
Yeah,
cool. It's such a cool feeling.
right. It is fun. It's
It's
lots of
so
fun. Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I hardly do it anymore, but whenever I do it, I'm like, man, I should do this more often. And
Yeah.
then it's like a few months later, I might do it again. I don't know.
But it's interesting, like for me it's such a novel thing. It just makes me think like, man, there are so many possibilities with rollerblading that like we
Oh, yeah.
haven't really explored. Like even like in terms of the movements, we're really only scratching the surface, which is so exciting.
It's infinite. It is totally infinite, which is such an exciting way to look at it. Like there's so many possibilities. It's infinite possibilities and infinite directions.
Right.
I
And
love it.
do you write down any of these like movements that you do?
Yeah, for sure.
And
I do. Um, so when I'm inspired to learn something new, like there's a breakdown process that goes, and then usually, um, well, I mean, it depends. It might take me like a few months, a couple years sometimes to really nail something down. But if it's something I'm somewhat familiar with, maybe I go practice it for one day, and then certainly I might not do it to the level as whoever inspired me to do it, but I can
right.
do it in my own way that I can kind of plug it into my own skating. Um, and then, yeah, I definitely like try and write these things down because, when we're out filming a video, um, I'm more excited when I have like those little things in my brain and I need like notes just to remember even what I was thinking about the day before. So,
Right.
yeah.
Is it ever challenging to like write it down? Like I have this thing like when I write um, trick ideas, a lot of the big wheel stuff, it's like hard. It's challenging just to write it down
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of the things, a lot of the movements don't have like a clear kind of name to
Right.
it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you kind of have to make up terms just for
That's,
yourself so you can kind of remember what you were thinking
yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah. Totally. So, yeah, I make up my own names. That's like enough so I know what I'm thinking. So, in like the last video that we put out, me and Alex, um, there was a move like, do you know Nico Torelli?
No.
Have you seen him? So he's like my favorite skater to watch right now.
Okay.
And yeah, he just like an Instagram clip. He did some really cool stuff that I can like kind of do every once in a while. But like the
Nico
movements,
Torelli.
Nico Torelli, yeah,
Okay.
dude is amazing. Everyone out there, like, go check out Nico Torelli. He just started a YouTube channel. He does like long flow skates. He's a
Sweet.
really good Instagram, and yeah, his skills are unreal. I could talk about him all day long, but he's got like slides and drifting down both directions so well that he can just like bust it out and wherever like I don't know. When I try and slide, I feel like I need to set this up. Like I need to plan this out. I can't just like happen to about it. But he'll coming down maybe like a like a handicap ramp that turns 90 degrees. He'll be able to, like, in a small space, hit a slide and control it around the corner and drop back down and then
Whoa.
drift it the other way. And he does the best drifty gazelles. Amazing.
Sweet.
So he's going fakie into a nice fakie slide, drifty, and then gazelles. So nice.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. So he had this move where he would go front, outside, lion.
Yeah.
And then, so he was going forward to backwards, and now he would drop to a back double outside lion. I don't know. That's going back to your point. This is like so hard to like put words to these moves.
Right.
But say the way I do it is I cross over my right foot over my left. I'm on the outside edge. I whip that around to backwards. I put my left foot down on the outside edge, and then my right foot kicks around, and then that'll like flip me around to forward. And sometimes I can do like a double 3-turn and go backwards to backwards on it, like he does. So anyways, I practiced that move, called it the Nico Torelli. So I like could remember what I was doing, and then could, I don't know, kind of do that in a few of my lines in the last video.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like it's funny because we're like the kind of the elders in
we're
skating.
so old.
But at the same time, like this all this wizard shit, like you even just trying to explain it, it's like kids, like it's low level communication. I feel like in the future,
yeah,
like if we had been skating wizards or doing that style of skating this entire time, we would probably have like a language developed that we could communicate like more clearly about each move. Like, how like jiu-jitsu players, they can speak to each other. No one will understand what the hell they're talking about, but they can go really deep into like the movements, and everything is defined and has a name and is like a language associated with it, right? We're only starting to develop this new language. So we're kind of fumbling around, like trying to describe it and like use our hands, right?
I know. All right, people are going to be listening to this, and I'm like showing what's going on.
No, it's cool, but it's interesting that we're kind of just children, right? Trying to figure all this stuff out. It's totally. It's interesting.
Well, that's like
it's exciting,
fun. Yeah, totally. Like the novelty is so important. Like having something new to do or try is so important. Like, I think, if you could do just one trick, you only had one trick you could do, but if you could find, a gazillion different places to do that one trick, then you can kind of fulfill that novelty.
Right.
But if you have like a confined space, you have to keep coming up with more and more tricks, because otherwise you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually something I think aggressive skating and slalom skating have in common, where the space is more defined. In slalom skating, more defined than aggressive skating, because you have a set of cones, and your creativity flows through that space in different ways. You can move through the cones.
Right.
Whereas aggressive skating, you could say like you have a grind box as an example, and then you can't just do soul grinds all day. You got to come up with different ways to grind, and create around that space. And it makes for like a super technical sport. Slalom skating, aggressive skating are both so technical. Figure skating would kind of fall into that too. You're on a defined space. You're in a rink. You can't just skate circles all day long. You got to move around it in different ways and jump around
that space.
Be creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
But rollerblading in general, like, here in Calgary, we're so lucky. Dude, you got to come to Calgary.
I know.
The spots here are like
incredible.
Dude, well, yeah. So you could literally just have one trick and just skate every different place around the city and be like perfectly content.
Yeah, it looks like you don't even need to do tricks. You can just skate around your city, and it's just like all just varying objects, and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
I
Well,
need to
you've been
come.
here
Yeah,
many times, but
I
the city has
have, and
grown
it
and
looks like
changed.
it's grown and changed a lot. It looks like
Yeah,
there are the classic spots, of course, um,
of course.
but
Yeah.
it looks like there's a lot of new stuff, a lot of really interesting architecture.
Yeah. Well, Calgary's like
Man,
kind of,
you're
sort of
lucky.
becoming a city, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of people here, and it
Yeah,
takes up a lot of space. But it was always kind of lacking the urban culture, kind of the city atmosphere. Certainly,
it was
if
pretty
you go to
spread out.
Calgary,
You mean?
yeah, it's very
Yeah,
spread out. People live, they people generally work downtown, um, but they live as far away as they can get, kind of thing. So the
yeah,
city just sprawls.
yeah,
Um, the good thing about that is there's pathways all over the city. So skating the trails is absolutely amazing. But you don't have that urban center and that kind of urban energy
right.
that you'd get in Vancouver or something. But
Yeah,
it's starting to happen. It's kind of exciting.
that is exciting.
Yeah. And with that, lots of interesting new stuff to skate.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Has has skating grown in Calgary? Are there more people skating
Yeah.
now?
This year in general has been really good. It's been incredible. Like, for many years, I would lead all the group skates and do this sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um, but now that I have two kids and way too much family stuff, I'm like, no, I'll tap out of that one, and I'll be back in a couple years. And don't worry, I'm not going
yeah.
anywhere. But for now, I'll come out when I can, but it won't be that often.
Right.
Um, but there's like a whole new crew that have like taken it over, and they'll have big group skates. The Wednesday night skates where they meet at the skate parks are happening. You know,
Wow.
People are getting back into it, and the roller skate and rollerblade communities have kind of like become one.
That's good.
Certainly, yeah, it's amazing. And there's
Yeah,
like girls that are into skating.
that's great.
I know. There was never any girls skating when we were
No.
growing up, but now like I go and it could be half girls,
Wow.
half guys, half girls at a skate park session.
That's so
It's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
And some of them are on roller skates, some of them are inline skates, and same with the guys. It's kind of a mix there too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But everyone's come together over just the love of skating. It's
Yeah.
really, really cool. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
No, I
Calgary's killing it.
that's awesome. Yeah, the unity between roller skaters and rollerbladers is a really good thing. There
Oh
was
yeah.
a time when there wasn't that unity. I mean,
No, I
just
know.
you go back just 5 years. I feel like there wasn't that unity. I
No,
don't
I
know. Like it
I
feels like a
feel the
new
same
thing.
way. I
Yeah.
feel the same way. Yeah. Like in my mind, there was a time when I started seeing roller skaters show up at Millennium Skate Park. So that's the big central skate park here in Calgary.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. Like, what the heck? Like, roller skaters are here. So, and I remember like trying to start conversations and talk about skating and talk about skates and stuff. And it felt like it was going nowhere. Like I was just being totally like shut out and rebuffed. And I'm like, okay, like I'll move on. Sorry. But, I was excited more than anything because it was new and it was cool and whatever. Um, and then it kind of felt like there was, um, I guess not tension exactly, but it just felt like there was nothing bringing us together, and the roller skaters were happy doing their thing and we were doing our thing. But yeah, over probably, like you said, the last 5 years or something like this, it's become a regular thing where, our Wednesday night skate at the skate park is 50-50 roller skates and rollerblades, and it's one crew together.
Yeah.
Like, we don't just happen to be there at the same day. It's like, no, we all plan to be there to skate together. It's really cool.
It is cool. It's probably all because of estrogen and because
Oh,
she's dating a rollerblader. It's probably
dude.
all
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
that.
So,
It's
yeah, I
all
did
because
hear
of
that. That's
estrogen.
really cool. Um, so
And
she did
estrogen talks about rollerbladers, and
does she really?
she was on Jump Street podcast.
Oh,
I feel
what?
like
Oh, man.
it's
I'm
all
behind.
because of estrogen.
That's cool. Oh, man. I bow down to estrogen 100%. I saw that Bones Bearings edit, like
Edit. Oh
whatever,
my
10
god,
years ago. And I was like,
that was insane. Yeah,
I was like, this is crazy.
yeah,
It was so cool. It was like her own style, totally shredding, hardcore. It was so impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So
That's
cool.
Yeah, she has a lot to do with it.
For sure.
And I met her once here in Calgary. They did like a roller
Nice.
skate clinic.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really show up for much of it, but I wanted to support the event, so I like paid the money and showed up for like 15 minutes at the end of the 2-day clinic
Yeah.
or whatever. But I get to say hi to Estrogen. It was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Oh, and then randomly, I was on, was it? I was like my first Zoom call ever. So like right at the beginning of quarantine, but Colin Martin put together like a meeting of the minds so he could do one of his presentations. Like Colin Martin, by the way, he's another guy that we should talk about.
Yeah.
But it was like Estrogen, Cameron Talbot, Eugen Ennen,
Whoa.
and myself and Colin on this
Whoa.
call. And he was breaking down his coil theory. It's incredible. I still don't understand it completely. Like, I was trying so hard for quite a while to kind of like figure out how to do this. Like his like Cat 180. Do you know this move?
Cat 180.
Yeah. So the idea being like the way a cat can kind of correct its body in the air by twisting like one half and then like creating rotation from there.
Right.
Sort of makes sense. It's really hard to explain, but you know, he would launch straight into the air with no rotation.
Yeah.
And then he would kind of like twist one way and then back the other way. I don't know. He would like twist and then unwind. That's what it was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like
Sorry, I can't explain it much better. He has a few videos on his Instagram.
He needs to make like a full like what is coil theory full tutorial for YouTube.
Definitely. He totally needs to do that.
This.
I would, yeah. That's exactly what he needs to do. So that way I can watch it over and over again.
Study it.
And write my notes, and watch it in slow motion, and then maybe one day I can do it. It's pretty incredible.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, the thing I love so much about skating is that it is like like an undiscovered land. Like there's so many hidden ideas within it to be mined. Like there's a lot of things that we don't know yet. And that's what makes it so fun. It's like
right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Like Cat 180. This is wait till we get there. But it's interesting seeing, like, for me, like, you know, my joy of skating is, you know, getting out and skating and trying to get into that flow state and getting that, you know, exuberant feeling of just being fully in the moment, you know, and using speed and challenge to get myself there and doing different things. But I just steal everything from other people, you know, like
that's okay.
People like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me any. Like every once in a while, maybe I'll come up with something different, but not very often. Everything is stolen from somebody else. But you make something new by maybe putting like a move I stole from Todd and then a move I stole from Joey, and I put them together, and now I've got something different.
Something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking two pieces that you stole and merging them in a new way.
Oh, totally.
That's the name of the game. Yeah.
And it's interesting. Yeah, absolutely infinite. Yeah, it's amazing. Love skating.
Do you ever think about the future? Like, what do you see yourself skating for a long time?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't get hurt. Like, you know, I keep my feet fairly close to the ground. I might like jump off things here and there, but very calculated, and I've worked really hard on my landing technique. Like my jumping and landing, I spent like a good, at least a year just focusing on jumping and landing. And so now I can skate without my knees hurting, rarely taking falls, not really getting injured. Wow. So yeah, there's no like end in sight. Like I'll be skating for a real long time for sure.
That's exciting. That's good to hear.
Oh yeah. Same with you, I'm sure.
I hope so. Yeah, and that is the plan. Yeah.
well, I don't want to give up on it. It's
No,
too much fun.
it's way too much fun.
And yeah, and like, I don't know, it's my duty is to like get out there on the blades and teach people and share what I love and get more people into it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you and Alex, that Alex is kind of your main filming buddy.
Yeah, 100%. So,
You guys do
um,
all the flow videos,
yep,
top task. Yeah.
yep, exactly. So, yeah, it was great. Like, so when I started making the videos, I was GoPro on the end of like telescopic handle and filming myself skate around,
Yeah.
Bill Stoppard style. Like, props to Bill Stoppard, total inspiration. Then one day, Alex is like, "Hey, Shaun, I think I could follow you with my camera." And then I remember the first time we went out skating, I'm skating along, and then I'm like, "There's no way Alex is like can keep up with this." And I look behind me, and he's right there.
Whoa.
He's been right there the whole time. He's never missed a thing.
Nice.
He like fell once and launched a camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. Like, it's pretty cool to be able to get out there and skate the way that I do and be able to get it captured because it's not easy.
Definitely.
And Alex is
No,
like
it's not
amazing
easy.
skater,
Yeah.
and he likes to film. So man, fun for me.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why the videos are so successful is because it's almost fun to watch just because you feel like you're like rolling with you, you know,
Right?
which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think is an underrated kind of aspect of skate videos is that feeling of motion that you can give the viewer, you know,
Oh yeah.
like I can be watching you and I'm rolling right with you as a viewer.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's like we're
And it's
skating together.
and it's shots that like used to cost $1 million with dolly setups and all this, but you know, filmers are at such a high level of in
Yeah.
skating themselves that they can capture it like pretty easily for them.
Yeah. I know it's really cool to see people coming from, the rollerblade world that have made amazing careers for themselves, filming videos and editing and in that side of things. It's really cool.
It's interesting.
Like you
Yeah.
see like someone like Vinnie Mittens, like kind of the pinnacle of that example
Yeah.
where
The human dolly.
the human dollar, yeah. And lots of the stuff he does when he's just running along, that dude's amazing. He's
Crazy.
not even on skates and yeah, he can do some of that stuff. But it's really cool. Yeah, it's like if I didn't have Alex, if we weren't working together making the videos, it would not come close to being the same thing. It's
Right.
really cool. Yeah, this like skater filmer tandem is kind of an interesting thing in our world. Like yourself and Joey, like the Kelsos. Uh, I think like Adam Johnson and uh, Alex Broskow.
Yeah.
There's like it's been some really cool like filming skating duos over the years.
Definitely. And it comes
Yeah.
through when there's like a relationship with between the filmer and the skater. You can kind of
Mm.
feel that bond and that like knowledge of how the person skates and the best way to capture it. Did you watch Devotion with Leon Humphreys?
No, I haven't seen that.
I highly recommend it.
I loved Leon Humphreys though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite videos of the last decade. It's so good. It's all Leon, and his filmer buddy. Sorry, his name is slipping me. Um, but the end product is so good. It's so special for that reason. It just, I don't know. You can tell that they've been skating together for decades. You know,
Really? Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna see
there's
that for sure.
knowledge that comes through.
Um, uh, I was gonna say like and in Eugen and his brother. I think it's his brother. Like maybe it's
Is it his brother?
Daniel and
Are you thinking of Nils?
Eugen.
There's Nils Janssen. I know his brother films him a lot.
Oh, really? Okay. No, I was
Yeah,
thinking.
maybe.
No, I'm thinking of like Eugen Ennen.
Does his
I
brother
think
film
it's
him?
maybe his brother films him stuff, but they definitely like there's some chemistry between him and whoever he films with, for sure. Just the way you're saying it.
Yeah.
And Nils, I didn't know that, but man, Nils, anything he does, like
Yeah,
I
he's
want to see
gifted.
it. He's absolutely amazing,
Yeah. Incredible.
man.
There's so many people.
There is, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I really like watching the Blader dads on Instagram.
The Blader dads.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like
It is
Tracy
cool. Yeah.
White,
Yeah.
you see him out with his two girls, and like they're out shredding around, and he's got fun little teeter totters and little ramps and boards to roll on just out in front of their house, and they're having a great time. Or recently, I've seen like Rashard Johnson skating with his daughter,
Yeah.
and his daughter's going to be amazing. She's going to be so good at skating. She's already got like really good style and can skate well. Jaron Grob,
Yeah.
and his son,
Yeah.
the Monster and Little Monster.
Little Monster.
The
That is
perfect
so
combo.
cool to see.
The
Yeah.
Little Monster.
It's
I
so
love
cool
it.
to see. We definitely
It
need,
is.
I want to see more kids
Yeah.
skating. I love watching like young kids skate. You're right.
I
It's
do
so
too.
cool.
So
Yeah, we need
inspiring. And
more. Yeah.
when you go to the ski hill, I love like, you know, you're sitting on the chairlift going up and you're watching people come down the run, and then you see like those little kids that are just shredding down the hill. It's so inspiring.
That
I
is
love it.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you ski?
I do, but not as much as I couldn't really call myself a skier. I have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ability. I should be skiing a bit more this year now that my son is like at the age where he's going to be skiing, and I really want to take him out. And
Yeah.
literally, my house is in the perfect location. Like right up the hill this way, there's the ski hill,
Oh,
and
wow.
then like a few blocks away, there's the ski hill, and then a few blocks the other way, there's a skate park.
Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
set.
So it's a small, you know, hill, not skiing in the mountains or anything, but it'll be
But
fun to take my
that's
son up there.
perfect for kids to
It's
start out
perfect.
on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. It has a little T-bar or something.
It's got a
Does it
few
have a
chairlifts,
lift?
and I think they start the little
Yeah.
ones out on like, I think they call it like a magic carpet,
Okay.
like a little conveyor belt that they stand on, and
Oh, yeah,
takes
yeah.
them up to the top of a little slope, and then they practice going down.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And my son actually is in one of the skate classes that I'm teaching right now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's like a
That
dream
is
come
so
true.
cool. So
Yeah.
you actually teach like full classes.
Yeah. So normally this time of the year, I'd be teaching at schools around town. So I'd be going to elementary school here for a couple weeks, and then over to this high school and running skate programs as part of their phys ed. But we're shut out of the schools at this point. But I have my own classes that I teach that are still going on. Actually, I think as of today, they're going to be shut down for a couple weeks, but whatever.
Shit.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
And one of these is like a learn to skate program that my son's in. So it's pretty
That's
cool. I
sweet.
feel super proud every time he's out there. He can get
That's so
around on the
cool.
blades, and I don't know, can't help myself.
So like how many kids are we talking?
So in the learn to skate program, there's only 2. There were more people signed up, but people dropped out.
Right.
So I think it'll pick back up, but that's cool with me.
Yeah.
And then in my the skate club program, we have 13.
That's amazing.
So, well, and the trouble is we can only have, like, including the instructors, we can only have 15 kids at the moment. And I'm in like a small
Limited.
space, so I do that. And then I teach like some other private lessons. I have a group, so a couple. They're in their like 50s and 60s. Had done like a little bit of skating before this year, but like really got into it this year, and they're
That's so
totally
cool.
hooked on it.
Wow.
It's so fun to watch. Yeah,
That is
they're loving it so much. Yeah, it's
50,
cool.
60,
Shout out to
wow.
Paul and Julie. Yeah, just
That's
getting
so
into
cool.
it. They're just like cool, rad people. They like to ride motorbikes and
Yeah.
try new things.
Nice.
But they've got totally hooked on skating. So they've gotten so good over this past year.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Stories like that are so inspiring.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be inspiring for you just to watch people kind of learn and progress
Oh, I
under
love it.
your
Get to, like,
tutelage.
yeah. And like, I don't know. Well, I guess for me, the greatest joy is like sharing in their excitement.
Right.
If that makes sense. They'll be like, wow, Shaun, I can do it. And I'm like, yes, you
Yeah.
can do it. This is amazing. Go for it.
Exactly. That would be so
And
energizing.
totally. And with the kids, you get the full blast of like amazing energy, like, wow, I can't believe I did this. And you get some of that with the older students, but it's kind of fun to be able to kind of talk things over. Because I'd be like, okay, this is, here are the steps. Here's what I want you to try. Here's what it looks like. Give it a go. And then they'll be like, like, they're able to kind of talk it out with you a little bit more. So I'm able to like better conceptualize these different skills that we might be working on.
Right.
So that's always rewarding too. It's just to be able to like, oh, okay, and like talk skating. They come from a different backgrounds. They kind of, like for us skaters, like we see everything as a skate spot in like skating world. And if they come from a different background, they're putting it into a different frame of reference. So like Paul and Julie, they ride motorbikes. So they're always like, oh, it's kind of like this on a motorbike.
Right.
So you kind of get a little different perspective at it. I really enjoy that.
Relate that kind of weight distribution and turning.
Totally.
And,
yeah.
Right. You have to understand kind of where the person's coming from, so you can kind of relate
so like
it
one
to
good
past experience.
Right. Yeah. And so one good example of that was just doing a regular old heel brake. And so I'm trying to talk about like, you apply the brake, kind of slowly, like you're not putting all your force into it.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, it's like a gradual application, just like on my motorbike. I forget the words he used exactly, but he like put it perfect, where it's, a gradual pressure into the brake. It was cool.
Right.
So
you
it was
wouldn't
just
just
something
punch
I never thought of.
Yeah. You wouldn't punch
you can't
it
just
like
hammer on the brakes. You're not going to stop.
Like a slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't want to go flying out the windshield.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That would be me on a motorbike, by the way.
Right.
Slamming on the brakes and like flying over. I can't it's really hard for me to coordinate my hands and like my rest of my body. Well, I don't know, like my legs and my arms, for instance, like dancing is really hard. Riding a bike, I'm not very good at it. Like I'm definitely the guy that would like turn way too sharp and fly over the handlebars or something.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do you so you don't mountain bike or anything like that?
No, it definitely scares me.
Yeah.
It scares the heck out of me. Yeah. How about you? Do you mountain bike?
Not regularly. No.
It's a Kamloops thing for sure.
Yeah, we're a very hilly territory, but about 10 years ago, I got really loaded up at Joey's house. He lives up on a hill, or he lived up on a hill. And at the end of the night, I was like, how the hell am I going to get home, right? Because we're both way too drunk to drive. And he's like, dude, just use my bike. And I hadn't ridden a bike for at least 20 years, like for real. No. I hadn't even been on a bike. And I was just hammered. And I rode his bike all the way home, like all like big hills. And I somehow made it home. I feel like I'm naturally really good on a bike. I went to my wife's brother's bachelor party, and we went up to some peaks in the summer and went mountain biking, like down the ski hills. You can bring your mountain bike on the chairlift and go up to the top, and there's like a huge, like, it's pretty incredible, just like a biking skate park all the way down this mountain. It's pretty epic. But I was a little nervous at the beginning because I have very limited experience. So I rented this like a pretty good bike with shock absorption and everything, and I got into it, and it was actually really easy. And I was just like keeping up with everyone. I don't know how I did it. I think I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just a natural thing.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I can ride a bike, but like so this year, my son learned to ride his bike, as did your son. Very exciting time. So, I'm like getting out a little bit, and my wife's family, they're really into mountain biking. So I went and met up with them at like a small bike park here in town. And so they brought a bike along for me, and it was like one of those super amazing mountain bikes with like, the shocks, and it felt so cool to be on it. But yeah, it probably took me like 10 minutes before I like fully flipped over on the bike. Like, I think I was trying to go, it was like a little pyramid, just an up and down, no flat on top. And I was just trying to like lift up the front wheel as I like went up and then back down. But then I missed the down and my head on the side and I flipped right off the bike. Yeah. That's, yeah. I'm terrible. I can't do it.
That's funny.
I would way rather, yeah, have the wheels on my feet.
That's
Like,
so funny.
and actually, I have a philosophy about this. You want to hear this?
Sure.
Okay, so I feel like in human movement, there's like different levels to it.
Okay.
So to me, like level one would be like parkour, running, yoga, that sort of movement.
Okay.
And then I feel like level two is rollerblading, where you're strapping something onto your body and it's becoming part of your body and you're using it as part of your body. And then like level three would be like skateboarding, biking, where you're more like operating a machine that's like separate from you.
Right.
And certainly I know that those guys that are really into it, you know, they become part of what they're doing in a way too. But to me, you know, it's a little bit more of a machine than it is kind of a tool.
Definitely. You're an operator of
Yeah.
a bike.
Right.
You know, or even like a skateboard or
Yeah.
a scooter. Whereas like skates they're a part of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you like, you know, with a bike, you have like the mechanical advantage of being able to, you know, shift gears and, you know, like pedaling, you know, or skating, you know, it's all driven from your own body. I suppose skateboarding and scootering have that in common, but because it's not attached, it feels a little bit different.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like more object manipulation.
Yeah.
You're manipulating an object. You don't really manipulate your skates. You move your body.
Right.
It's a different
Well put. Yeah. I like that. That's
philosophy.
exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And certainly we're all going for the same feeling in the end. So, you know, it's kind of
It's
silly
that
to draw
movement.
lines between them, but I do see differences.
For sure. Yeah.
Moving your body, adding skates, getting onto a bike or a scooter or a skateboard or getting in a car. It's not, you know, you can't compare it to rollerblading.
No, but you can compare driving a car to riding a bike. It's very similar. You're sitting on a machine on a vehicle.
Right.
It's rolling.
Yeah,
and you're operating
exactly.
that vehicle.
Perfect. Exactly.
I mean, with a bike, you're putting your kinetic energy into it. You're pedaling, whereas on a car, you're just pressing a pedal. But it's much more similar.
Yeah, I think
than
so.
It is different.
Yeah, you have that mechanical advantage. There's something there. Yeah, I don't know how else you can draw it together, but yeah, I think it's more. You know, if you have a bike, it's less parkour than it is driving a car. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's more to that side of the spectrum. If I was drawing it on a spectrum, you got
Right.
parkour, you got cars. Biking is closer to a car than it is parkour. Whereas like rollerblading would be closer to parkour than it would be driving a car.
Definitely. Yeah. One of
I
these
see
things is
everything in
not like
graph.
the other. Yeah, it's like a group. It's like lump the like objects together. Yeah. Dancing is closer to rollerblading
Right.
than
Yeah,
dancing
That's
is
like
to biking.
dancing is definitely level one. For sure.
Yeah. Which is why rollerblading is so expressive. I mean, you can express things that you on a bike or a skateboard that you can't express on rollerblades in the object manipulation realm. But if you take away the object manipulation and it's just what your body is doing, then rollerblading is closer to dancing. Dancing is like the ultimate moving your body art, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, like I don't know. There was a time in my life when I was like trying to break dance, like the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. It's so
It's
hard.
incredibly hard.
Riding a bike and learning uh, riding a bike is also hard for me. But no, breakdancing and like trying to speak another language, so hard.
Very hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a life goal. Probably not breakdancing.
You should learn breakdancing.
Yeah,
It would
I
be
would love to.
it would be a great accompanying skill to rollerblading.
Oh, definitely.
It would make you a better rollerblader
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh man, that reminds me of Brian Bell.
Right. His
Like
videos
he would
always
always,
had breakdancing in them.
yeah.
It
And
was
so
all, yeah, breaking, graph, fighting, and
fighting,
rollerblading.
rollerblading. Their videos were so good.
So good. And
I
girls.
love those ones. Yeah. So do you remember Street Dwellers?
Yeah.
Those videos?
Yeah.
So I think maybe Street Dwellers 2 was coming out, or maybe this was like the like MDR, like Making Dreams Reality, My Daily Routine. Maybe it was before Street. I can't remember exactly, but there was a time when Brian Bell, his phone number was in Daily Bread magazine.
His phone number, his personal phone
Yeah,
number.
they're like Brian Bell, in the disinformation section,
Yeah.
and I would read those things cover to cover, inside and out. And in the disinformation, they're like, Brian Bell has a new video out. Like, if you want to order it, give him a call. Here's
Give
his
him a
phone number.
call. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I phoned him.
Yeah.
And there was no answer. So I'm like, okay, like, darn, like, shucks, whatever. I was probably a little bit nervous too, so it's probably a bit of a relief. And then an hour later, my phone rings.
Oh shit.
And I pick up the phone. He's like, hey, like somebody from this phone number called me. And I'm like, Brian Bell? He's like, yeah. And we talked for like an hour. It was amazing.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, man, you got to order the new video. It's like, smoke some weed and listen to the music and watch it sync up. And like, you got to order these CDs. And I'm like, okay, like, how do I order this? Like, go to the liquor store and get a money order and send it this way. And I'm like,
money order?
Yeah. I'm like, I can't go to the liquor store. I'm not old enough for this. Like, you got to figure this out. Eventually I figured it out and ordered the video.
Wow.
And this was kind of after the Battle My Crew VG, and there was like the 619 section in there.
Yeah.
And there was like a few clips, like this huge 540 and some other, like a couple real nice lines by this guy. And I didn't know who it was, but I thought maybe it was Brian Bell. So I was like asking him like, hey, like, these tricks are really sick. I don't know if maybe I asked him who it was or if it was him. And he's like, no, man, that's Chris Haffey. This kid's going to be amazing. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, this is the first I heard of Chris Haffey, who's skating K2s and had like the San Diego, like the SD San Diego Padres hat, I guess it would be. So I kind of thought it was this Brian Bell, but it turned out to be Chris Haffey.
Yeah.
So he told me about Chris Haffey. It was fun.
Wow.
That was Brian Bell. Rest in peace, man. That guy is.
Yeah. Legend.
He was such a legend. Yeah.
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 The impact that he had in his videos. Like,
yeah, he did.
Really inspired us big time.
Totally.
Making dreams reality.
Yeah.
Just, wow.
Well, with so many people you'd never necessarily heard of, doing amazing things that you'd never seen before, and then like so much personality mixed in.
Yeah.
It was just like fun and creative. Yeah.
They were very unique worlds that you would enter. Like these.
Right.
Like
Totally.
Making dreams reality. They were so gangster and so street and just like such cool music that you had never heard. And yeah, it was like a whole nother world.
Totally. Yeah. I still listen to music that was introduced to me by those videos.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And some of the skaters, Lyle Shivak comes to mind. I don't know. So many legends from that like Southern California, San Diego area.
Just amazing
Brian
styles.
Bell. Dang. Yeah. That's one that bummed me out when I heard Brian Bell passed.
Yeah,
really bummed me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He phoned me that one day.
Wow.
I won't forget. Told me about Chris Haffey. Yeah.
We're lucky to still be here and still we get to experience what's to come. I think some interesting things are still yet to come.
Yeah. And like we haven't had any, like in our circle, there hasn't been any major tragedies, you know?
We've been lucky.
We've been super lucky. Like we haven't like, you know, we've been to weddings and, you know, some of our friends that got married maybe have gotten divorced or whatever, but we haven't been to any funerals.
No.
So I feel super lucky for that.
Yeah,
Like, my life in general has been, yeah.
We got to have the Eisler Q reunion.
Oh, dude, I know.
In like 20 years.
Yeah.
And we'll go to Richie Eisler's dad's house.
I know. His parents must they were super cool and super forgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, they must have hated us by the end.
Oh my God.
How could they not?
I know.
Because they never did. They're always been cool, but my God. The shit that went down at Richie Eisler's basement. But just 20 random kids in the middle of the night coming in and out and drinking wine from their basement, and I don't know what we did.
Stinking really
oh
bad.
My God, the smell. Dude, you remember that one where we were skating that rail over the side of Wascana Lake or whatever? It was a real dirty, stinky, man-made lake. At least that's the kind of vibe we got. And there was that guy out on a wind, what is it called? Windsurf board?
Windsail?
Yeah, windsail. He's kind of sailing on a surfboard.
Yeah.
And then we all roll up and chant a word that we don't say anymore until he falls over and then cheer. Oh God.
I do remember that. That was legendary. Wow. Oh. Not for him. I feel bad for him, but for us, it was just an epic moment.
Yeah. Jumping into
he was
finding where they can jump off into the dirty lake.
Such good times.
Such good times. Dude, that was fun. Yeah. Do you remember the first time we met?
I remember you came to Kamloops.
Yeah, so just maybe a weekend before that in Calgary for the Cat that was at the Stampede.
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember this one? I got a few memories.
I do. I have some memories because I remember the Cat and I remember you coming to Kamloops. I couldn't remember which was first, whether you came to Kamloops first or whether we met you at Cat first.
Yeah, so we met at Cat first.
Okay, in Calgary at the Stampede. Yeah. Okay.
So the Canadian Aggressive Tour.
Yeah.
Just getting started. I think the year before they had an event in Vancouver that was televised on TV, and for sure Joey and Jordan Coles were on the Outdoor Life Network. Were you in that too?
I wasn't on TV, yes? But I was at that event. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I actually did my very best to make it out to that event, but my parents in the end didn't want me to go. I don't know. I was young and traveling by myself out to Vancouver just seemed like a bad idea to them.
Yeah.
That didn't end up happening, but the next year in Calgary, we all met. That was the beginning. That's where we met, Richie Eisler.
Yeah.
Met the Kamloops connection.
That was, a lot of the Canadian rollerbladers we all met for the first time at those events. People from Alberta and BC and yeah.
So I remember certainly Richie Eisler, Dan Varon, yourself, Dana Beaver, Joey, Reese Garcia from Vancouver. He was there. I don't know if Nima was there.
Nima was there.
He was there for that one. Okay.
Maybe not in Calgary. I know he was at the Edmonton one because there was one at Calgary and one in a Walmart parking lot in Edmonton. And I know Nima was at that one.
Yes. Well, the year after is when they had them in the Walmart parking lots. So that might have been the year after, I wonder. But I didn't make it to the Edmonton one because so after the Calgary event, we all meet. California Todd was there. I
Yeah.
remember that clear as day. California Todd, you had the like
Yeah, wear my
Hawaiian
Hawaiian
shirt
shirt.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dana Beaver in the like oxygen argons. I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess you had Bauer civilities or something.
Close. You got the color right. I had sci-fives. So
Sci-fives,
so they were
okay.
like the pale green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we met and we went for like a little street skate, and then I got Dana Beaver's phone number because I was gonna be in Kamloops like the next week. So my family
Sweet.
came to Lethbridge, or from Lethbridge to Calgary to the contest, and then we are gonna go out to Vancouver for like our family vacation. So we stopped in Kamloops, and then that's when like we met up for that one epic day of skating.
I remember that day, and I remember you
Me
just
too.
killing all of our spots.
I was like soul grinding like a madman that day.
Yeah. You were hitting all these huge rails. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So in that time, I would like transition from like Royale being my safety trick because I was just like wearing out my skates so fast, like Royaling everything. So I was like, no, I got to like soul grind. So I had to like commit to learning soul grinds. But yeah, that was so much fun. That was
Yeah,
a great day.
you had Fifth Elements, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Wow.
Well done. Yeah. Another things I remember too is I feel like there was like a kiosk or like a little convenience store kind of underneath. So I think maybe you call it the stadium, but I think it's like maybe where the Kamloops Blazers play. But there's like that double set of stairs and a few ledges below
Yeah, the Coliseum.
the Coliseum, and
Yeah.
then there's that big staircase that comes down.
Yeah, the
And I
train
feel like there was
bridge.
like,
It goes
yeah,
over
okay, yeah,
the train.
exactly that one.
Yeah.
And then there was like maybe a little kiosk or something under there or beside it somehow.
There was a
But
little
we
ice cream parlor.
okay,
Um I'm not I'm not sure if it would have been there when you were there. But yeah, Scoops with a Z.
maybe that's what it
Scoops
was.
ice cream parlor.
Okay, yeah, maybe I don't have this right, but anyways, what I remember is we went there and got like Jolt Cola, like the super caffeine, like terrible tasting cola drink.
Yeah.
We got those and we went skating some more. Damn, that was a good
Nice.
day.
That was an
Yeah,
epic day.
that was so fun.
Yeah. I think there's some
Um,
footage of that in Under Canadian Skies.
I think so. I feel like
Yeah.
we've made it into one of you guys' videos. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your soul. I think you did Soul to Farve on the Hospital Kinker.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, up
So
at
in
the
like
hospital.
Soul and then switched up to back Favre, kind of probably right at the end of the rail when, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because that whole area is completely different now. They totally renovated the hospital, and that
Cool.
obviously that Kinker's not there anymore.
Is there some more
It's
good stuff though?
um not maybe. I mean, it's just such a quick bust that
Oh, okay.
we don't usually skate the hospital.
Yeah.
It's not really a go-to or anything.
Right.
Um, yeah, but it's interesting looking at those old videos and watching how your city has changed, like how the architecture has changed. There's a lot of stuff that we've hit that doesn't even exist anymore. Rails and sets of stairs that are just
Right.
gone.
Yeah, that is interesting. Those little time capsules
Yeah.
going back in time and yeah, seeing the yeah, absolutely the architecture or just like the way you dressed or just your
It's almost,
skating in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, like, it's possible that no one would even really remember, like, a set of stairs. You know, they might have walked down it every day on their way to work, but they wouldn't have, like, an attachment to it, you know? So when the stairs are gone, it's like it doesn't mean anything to them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but to us, it was, like, such a special thing that we experienced on this, like, rail or this set of stairs, and it's
Yeah.
gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have like a fond memory of this inanimate
Totally.
object that we jumped on and slid down or whatever we did.
Totally. Yeah, like the interaction with the world around you just becomes so much more interesting, through the perspective of inline skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely like attach memories to like sets of stairs, which
Yeah.
seems so weird when you put it that way, but absolutely. Yeah, when you were saying this, I was thinking back to the hospital in Lethbridge. And there was like, you know, this classic kinked rail that we skated and jumped the stairs and whatever. And it's all been redone.
Right.
You know, it's like changed and moved on. But yeah, when I go by there, I'm like, oh, I remember. I
It's
like the way
gone.
it used to be.
Yeah.
Bring it back,
Bring it back.
please. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. So from that Kamloops trip, you know, we had that awesome day of skating, Jolt Colas, soul grinding everything, back farves.
Yeah.
Then I went to Vancouver, and in North Vancouver they had like an indoor skate park in one of the community centers. I think maybe it was just like in a
Okay.
rink that they weren't using or something.
Yeah.
And I ended up breaking my ankle at the skate
Oh.
park there. So I never made it to the Edmonton stop, which was like the weekend after, because that was kind of the
Okay.
plan.
Yeah.
But I met Josh Silver there.
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't know it was him until years later. I just had these memories of this guy doing like a backside fast slide transfer. So it was like a hip, 2 quarter pipes made into a hip. So he would like, you know, transfer backside backslide, or sorry, backside fast slide.
Backside fast slide.
I know, and nobody was doing fast slides, and certainly not on
Whoa.
like a quarter pipe. And he did that. He did a topside negative mistrial on that same hip transfer.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, like I've never seen anything like this before. He was skating on like those rollerblade deluxe or rollerblade paws or whatever, super old school.
He was so good. He still is
Yeah.
so good.
So good.
Josh, wow.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. He's one
Remember
of those guys.
we came to Calgary with Josh. And I think
Yes,
you
you
were
did.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like he was wearing really big sweatpants and deshies and had dreadlocks.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe
He had the
something like
dreads, very
Yeah.
large pant, very big
Yep.
shirt.
Yep,
Either a sweatpant or cargo,
definitely.
and rollerblades. I think they may have been the TRS.
Oh, maybe. Maybe
Was he in
TRS.
TRS?
Yeah. That could
He
be.
hits that really nice top mistrial in Cirque du Soleil. Army pants. I think they were army pants.
Dang, I don't know. I can't remember this one.
Really good style.
Always the best style. Always,
Yeah.
always. It's like so unique, customizes everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the way he, like, just going into his apartment and seeing the way it's decorated, you're like, oh wow, like this guy's an amazing eye for creative design. And then like
He would modify his wallets. He would like
right.
he would cut all his credit cards so it was like just the barcodes and put holes in them and like attach like a keychain to them, so it was just like he would build things. He was, I don't know, he was very smart like that.
Really smart
Customize
like that.
everything, customize his skates in weird ways, cut off stuff that was useless, like, oh, you don't need this, like cut it off. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Totally,
very
yeah.
interesting.
Really smart guy that way.
Yeah.
And just like wonderful to watch skate.
Oh yeah.
So good. Awesome. Yeah. I remember when he won popularity contest one year, like when it had moved on to Vancouver and Travis Nabe was running the show.
I remember that. I was there.
Right. Oh, that was so awesome. He
Yeah.
was such a star that day.
Yeah, I was hurt.
There was
I
no
wasn't
beating
skating,
him.
but I remember Josh just killed it. Yeah, he
Dang.
won pop contest.
Yep. What a guy. Oh, I
Yeah.
won something that day. Best fall. And
Did
Travis
you?
Yeah, Travis gave me like a trophy that said best fall, and I'm like so disgusted with myself. I'm like, thanks, I guess. But I was like, oh god, I felt like almost felt insulted. Not that he was trying to insult me, you know, it was like, pick me up, you took a bad fall, like, here you go, here's a funny trophy you get to keep.
So what
But
was
I
the
was
fall?
So bummed. I tried to like 180 like out of the skate park over like the fence into the basketball court.
Whoa. Okay, that was a big jump.
Yeah. And what happened was like I was perfectly in control of the air, but then I think because I had to get over the fence, I had like pulled my feet up a little bit too high into the mute grab. So when I tried to finish the rotation and get my feet underneath me, I was reaching for the landing and I wasn't totally square.
Yeah.
And I had big wheels on and twisted my
Okay.
ankle. That's back when I was learning the big wheels
Yeah.
and
That
hadn't
was a
perfected my landing
huge.
yet.
That was a huge jump.
I'm pretty sure
Huge
Kenny
gap.
Talpa 540'd it that day.
He did. Yeah,
He did
he did.
540 it. Yeah.
And I think Danny
Yeah.
180'd it. Did Danny
Probably.
Danny Beer? Did he either 180'd it or 540'd it?
Yes, he did. I remember me and Kenny were using the bungee to get speed at it. Kenny brought like a bungee, a banshee bungee or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
Where you like
yeah.
stretch it back and launch yourself at things. But Danny just like Danny powered
Skated
it,
at it. Yeah.
jumped it. Like yeah, Danny Beer, man, it's amazing to see like what he's become.
Oh yeah.
Because he's
Very
been
cool.
skating forever.
Yeah.
That dude's been skating forever and skating hard forever. You remember when he used to wear a helmet and like?
I do. Yeah.
And that was Danny
It's funny,
Beer?
yeah, because he's maybe 10 years younger than us, roughly, 8 or 9.
Probably, yeah.
But he's been skating for just as long. He's been skating since he was just a little kid.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How long
How
have you
old
been
were you?
skating?
I started when I was 12,
Okay.
so I'm
Yeah.
38, so
Right.
26. How
Not
old were
young.
you when you got into it?
I was 10 years old when I got rollerblades for Christmas.
10.
I guess maybe I just turned 11, possibly. But I was in grade 5. I tried rollerblades, like they were just kind of becoming a thing. And somebody had a pair, I put them on. It was like, wow, like at first I couldn't even believe that they worked. Like, I was like, I can actually skate around on these things. It didn't even make sense, but they were awesome. And then I just went home
Because
and
you had
begged
played
my
hockey
parents for a pair of skates.
before that, right?
So hockey was kind of right around the same time.
Okay.
So I didn't get into it as like a really young kid. My parents, weren't hockey players and like it wasn't like a big thing. But for me, like playing street hockey was like, I loved playing street hockey.
Yeah, me too.
And what happened is my younger brother, I don't know how it happened. My dad just like one day is like, okay, Jason's playing hockey. So like he was on a hockey team all of a sudden. And he was like my younger brother. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like I've been begging you to play hockey all these years. And like Jason gets to play hockey before me. And they're like, okay, yeah, we could play hockey. So, so I joined in and like, so I felt like I was a little like a step behind. I always felt like a little bit awkward in the dressing rooms. It was like kind of, I don't know. I never fully fit into the hockey team.
Yeah.
Maybe certain years I did better than others, but never felt, I don't know. That was my feeling at least, but stepping onto the ice was always amazing. You hear the crunch and it's icy cold and it blasts you in the face. And then it was a physical game. So, as like a boy, that rough physical play is so satisfying. So
Yeah.
it felt great. I loved it. So I kind of got in around the same time as I got inline skates. I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
But then a few years later, like I just wanted to skate even during the winter. It was like, okay, like I'm not going to play hockey because I'll be in the garage learning how to true spin top pouring on the rail. And I'll be doing that all winter long. And I'll be shoveling places and I'll be skating as much as I can.
Wow. And that's what you were doing.
Yeah. Totally got hooked.
So your first skates obviously weren't aggressive skates. They were just...
No.
What
they were...
Do you remember when you got into aggressives?
I do, yeah. So my first pair of skates were like plastic boot, CCM tacks. But just like the classic, every rollerblade kind of looked the same back then. So I had those. And then let's see. I'm trying to like put it together with which skates I had when I got into it. But what happened was I made a trip out to Vancouver to visit my aunt and uncle. And they took us to the P&E, like the Pacific National Exhibition, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And, riding roller coasters and stuff like that. But there was a rollerblading demo at the P&E. So they had a half pipe, They had some like little grind rail set up. They had kind of like a pyramid-ish, like a launch box that had a set of stairs and a rail down the other side.
Crazy.
Um, and Iceman, you know, the guy who did like the emceeing at the cat events,
Yeah.
he was the MC.
Sorry, what was
And
his name?
Iceman, I think. Iceman?
I think Iceman was his nickname. I don't think it was his. What was his?
I'm pretty sure his name was Iceman. It was tattooed on his arm. No, I don't. But it was the zero gravity team. I remember that little detail. But no, I don't ever know Iceman's name. He's just Iceman.
He had a name. Joey would remember his name. I can't.
Oh, I wish I could.
Right now, it's slipping my mind. But I know who you're talking about.
Okay, jump in with the name if it comes to mind, because I want to hear this. But yeah, Iceman was emceeing, and you know, they were, you know, going back and forth on that half pipe, and you know, doing some decent airs and different grabs. They're doing rocket grabs and methods and 360s, and one or two of them were trying McTwists, and probably somebody landed a McTwist along the way. And then they had like the little rails on the ground, essentially, you know, like a 2x4 with a rail on top, like a classic P rail. And there would be 2 or 3 of them, and they, you know, soul grind and jump to the next one. And, you know, I remember just totally like, I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing with my life. Because I already love rollerblading in general, but when I saw that, I'm like, wow, so sick. This is blowing my mind. They had 3 shows that day. I went to all 3. And, you know, I kind of stood at the back for the first one, and then by the end, I was like front row center, like cheering them on. I got some hyper stickers. They like threw out hyper stickers. I had hyper stickers. I stuck them on my skates. They had like those rollerblade gloves that had the studs in the palm.
Yeah.
Do you remember these things?
I do remember those, yeah.
And I was like, wow, those gloves are so cool.
Yeah.
I need those gloves. And then the next day, there was like a little skate park in North Van. And you've probably been there. I wouldn't doubt it. It's just like a bowl with like a small snake run. I think it's like on Queens Street or something like this.
Yeah, is that I know there's one of the first bowls in BC is in North Van. It sounds like what you're describing.
I think that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So my aunt and uncle took me and my brother there the next day, and I dropped in on the bowl and skated around. It was great.
You were all stoked on it.
Yeah.
And then, so you ended up getting some skates with grind plates and stuff.
Yeah, so then I like modified my like rollerblade. They were Rollerblade World Cup was like the model, and it was like kind of the classic rollerblade boot, like, kind of like a TRS. Didn't have like the little extra sole fin on there.
Yeah.
But the frame, the way the frame was built was there was kind of like, you know, you had the axle holes, and then in between there was like a little piece of plastic that was missing, so to speak. Like there's a little part there. So there was like, yes. Anyways, what happened was that kind of busted and created like a little groove. And I think eventually I put some sole plates on there, but I was like, you know, Mizzouing on like little rails around without any extra sole plate. And I kind of, figured it out a little bit on those things. And then eventually the next year, I think I got a pair of rollerblade box cars.
Oh yeah. I had the box cars.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
They came anti-rocker. It was amazing.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. And who wanted the like, well, of course you wanted the Chris Edwards, you know, tarmac CEs, but at the same time, you're not going to grind with that huge metal tri-grind plate.
It's true, yeah.
And the rest of it, I was like, no, I want the box cars.
Yeah. The CEs were my first skate with the bridge grind plate.
Okay.
So I learned how to front side with the bridge grind plate.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Cool.
But then my second pair of skates was the box cars. And they were like more street oriented.
Totally.
I think they came with a plastic grind plate.
It might have been a Scribe grind plate.
Yeah, I think it did.
I think it was a Scribe grind plate, yeah.
Yeah, and anti-rocker wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the anti-rockers, like the middle ones, were probably like 58s in the middle and like 72s on the outside or something.
Yeah, nice big wheels on the outside.
Yeah. And not what you'd call an anti-rocker wheel. But I remember eventually moving like the inside wheels to the outside and putting like, you know, a more traditional 48 millimeter anti-rocker wheel in the middle or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, dang.
Like a real anti-rocker wheel.
Yeah, man. Wore the crap out of those skates, that's for sure. They got shredded. There was nothing left.
Not too much rolling. Just a lot of sliding on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was all grinding.
Yeah.
But like the boots were like worn out, like, you know, royaled the whole side of the skate off.
It's interesting that like, yeah, the rolling was less a part of the experience. It was all about like sliding on the plastic.
Right.
I mean,
I know, it's weird.
Yeah, we did hit airs, but we were just, I don't know. It was mainly about sliding.
Yeah. Yeah, you would jump things and it was fun to learn how to 360 and 540. But the landings, like as long as you didn't fall over,
Right.
you landed it, right?
You landed, yeah.
Like, yeah.
And we were all terrible at actually skating. Like,
right.
Nobody was good at skating.
No.
Nobody was good at actually skating, like fast. We would skate really slow and with really bad form, really clumsy, but it didn't matter. It was all about the sliding. It was all about like, can you do a top sole or like a fish brain?
Exactly. Right. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Can you do the tricks?
It is funny it was kind of backwards.
I know, yeah. That's one thing I'm really glad about is aggressive skating isn't that way anymore.
No.
You know, the skating has gotten so good.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to watch. And yeah. And the landings, my God. The landings. That's like almost the only thing I care about when I watch an edit nowadays is watching how well somebody lands their tricks. Because, you know, like the tricks kind of, you know, unless it's something new, it doesn't really register. But, you know, if it's like a nice landing, then I'm like, props to you, my friend.
Yeah, landings.
Yeah, I'll double click like on this video for that nice landing.
For that nice landing. Why is it? Yeah, it's so satisfying to watch like a nice landing.
It's so satisfying. I know. That's my favorite thing. I was thinking of one of your tricks. So like, you know how you can do really good forward 720s?
Yeah.
That's such a hard trick to land. That's like one of the hardest tricks to land, I think.
To land well, yeah. To land it clean and not like to stop your rotation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you see a lot of people do it and then they'll quickly turn to fakie or whatever, kind of scramble out of it. But yeah, because you have to spin so fast and then just stop. Yeah. But the reason that I can do it and land it as well as I do is because I actually only spin like like a 630.
Okay.
And then if you look at it in slow mo, the last bit I'm looking backwards and my legs are pointed forward. So I've already, with half of my body, I've already stopped my rotation. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because if I was spinning my whole body 720 landing, I would have to like turn to fakie. I would have so much momentum. Yeah. Right? But if I only spin part of it and spin the rest just with my hips, that's the secret. Then I can control the landing.
It's almost like a nice strong shifty to finish the rotation. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
exactly. Yeah.
That's So I this is on YouTube. I did like a series on doing 360s.
Yeah.
And
same thing with 360s.
Totally. Yeah. So the way I was breaking it down was you know, when you take off, so if you're spinning to your left, your right foot's going to be in front. So that turns your hips a little bit the direction that you're already going to be spinning.
Right.
But then when you finish the rotation, you want it to be the opposite. You want your left foot to be in front. Right. So you almost like bring that right foot in front of you all the way around, and then you snap it so that the left foot comes in front. So you're not turning your hips all the way around. I can't do it very well, but I
That
think
makes
that's
sense.
the way it's done. Yeah.
That makes sense. And when you break it down like that, it's like you're not even really spinning. You're just kind of
No.
turning your hips a little bit.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly.
illusion. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, if I turn my like opposite way, my unnatural direction,
Yeah.
then I can land it that way quite well. But I can't really jump very well. Like I can't. I don't know. I more naturally ride with my right foot in front of my left.
Right.
And I feel like every skater, tips to skaters out there, like look at which foot is naturally in front when you're just rolling around, or watch yourself skate on video and see which way you like do this, because it'll teach you a lot about your skating. So I'm always with my right foot in front. So if I jump, that's the way I feel comfortable and I can push off and do a nice big jump. But if I switch and put my left foot in front, I can't really jump as well. It's a lot more difficult. But if I take off from that position and spin my unnatural direction, now when I'm landing in my comfortable right foot in front position, so I can make like a nice smooth landing.
So does that carry over to the way that you skate backwards? Like, do you stagger your legs the same way?
Yeah, so I fairly naturally I can like turn both ways
Yeah.
as I'm skating backwards, and it doesn't feel like one way's better than the other. I think
Even
if
for
I had
like
an
dropping into a bank, can you
if
drop
I'm
into
dropping
banks
into like
fakey both ways?
no, on a ramp, it's like I got to be looking over my left side.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had really gotten used to doing it over my right shoulder.
I
Like on a
think
ramp, it's really hard.
it was only a couple years ago that I realized that I could only drop into a bank looking over the one shoulder. And
Yeah,
I put a lot of effort into learning how to drop in looking over both shoulders. That took a lot of energy to learn that,
good
to
for
break
you.
that
Yeah,
down. And it feels only recent that I figured out the staggering thing. It makes so
yeah,
much sense that you would stagger in a way that it opens up your body to the way that you're looking.
yeah.
I never really noted that or figured that out. It seems
Right.
like until a few years ago. It's like, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense. You stagger your feet and then your body opens up.
right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and like every once in a while, so people will from time to time send me videos of them skating and ask for advice or whatever. And one person sent me a video of him riding stairs, and he was looking over his right shoulder with his left foot leading,
Over his left shoulder with his left foot leading.
looking over his right shoulder, sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
So he's
crazy.
looking over his right with his left foot leading. So his hips are turned one way and
Whoa.
his shoulders and head are trying to turn the other way.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
was riding a set of stairs.
Whoa.
And I'm like, and he could do it. And he could do
Whoa.
it. So like I pointed out like, this is the way that I do it. But when I saw him do that, I'm like, that would be the scariest thing ever for me to like be approaching a set of stairs, looking over the wrong shoulder with my feet the other way. I couldn't imagine doing it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
very
almost
helpful to coordinate those things.
yeah. And that's not wrong. It's just a lot harder. It's almost like
Right.
if he is that's pretty crazy that he can stair ride like that. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you could turn that into some kind of crazy maneuver that's like utilizing that kind of freaky uh, body uh, body position.
Right, I think
But
so.
I mean, it's harder. It's fun. Like, yeah, it would be in his interest to like show him that for sure. But also, it's not wrong that he's doing it that harder way. It's a trick
No,
unto
yeah,
itself, and yeah, he could probably
totally.
figure out some weird, swivel or something because of that.
You're
That's
totally
crazy to
right.
think about.
Yeah, I feel like from there you could do some sort of illusion spin.
Yeah,
You'd be set up perfectly for
it's perfectly.
turning your head to the same direction that your hips are turned into a spin. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's a genius.
It would almost be interesting, like to start the stair ride like that, and then even just to do half the stairs looking over one shoulder, and then finish it looking over the other. So it's like a 180 of your upper body, but
Right.
your legs don't move. It'd be like, what the hell just happened?
That would look crazy. I like that idea. And you could
Yeah.
or just switching your feet halfway down too.
Right. Yeah.
So
Switching
you
the
got your feet
stagger.
staggered one way, you're kind of looking quote unquote the wrong direction,
Right.
and you're like hitting the stairs, and then you switch it. Oh man,
There's been some
good
really
ideas.
crazy like zero spins done where it looks like the person has spun or something, but they actually haven't. They've just gone from fakie to fakie. But
Yeah.
they've done weird things with like their head movement. Like, do you know Bobby Spazzoff has done some
Oh
really
my god.
interesting kind of movements where I've like rewound and tried to figure out what the hell he's doing. And I think it's just zero spins, but he's just kind of moving his hips and he's moving his upper body in ways that you think he spun or maybe it was a fakie three. It's so confusing. It's so interesting when people
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, he's a. I need to go back and watch some more of his skating. I was really into it for like quite a while, and I still love it. But I was like getting into it and trying to break it down. And yeah, I made a video about it too many years ago. But the way you can combine like early spins and late spins, and he'll just do, like I said, like a 360, but I'll have to watch it 4 times to figure out what it was. I'm like, that could have been
Yeah.
a 540, a 720. Maybe he didn't spin, but it turns out it was a 360. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
understand how that
he
happened.
throws his legs in interesting ways and moves his hips and like it's almost like he's figured out he's on a different level when it comes to like spin like kind of like coil theory. I don't really know what coil theory is, but it seems like Bobby Spazzoff is on some coil theory
Yeah, I feel
where
like,
his
yeah.
hips and he's like a GI Joe figurine that like moves at the hips and all this
Yeah,
weird stuff is happening. You can't even figure it out. It's bizarre.
right.
It's very cool.
Yeah, and then like Colin Martin, he broke down early spin and late spin really
Early
well.
spin. Oh yeah.
So late spin, let me kind of figure this out, would be the period of rotation where your upper body is ahead of your lower body. I think. Huh.
Or maybe
How do you do it? 180. Jump.
so
I don't know.
if it's like a
I think that's
180,
what it was.
if it's like a
Yeah.
late 180,
Yeah.
you can jump and stall your entire body and at the last minute just move your hips 180 almost.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just turn your
Right.
hips. Um
So maybe your hips are ahead of your upper body. The way, I don't know. I'm struggling to put the words that Colin put to it because he said it so well. That guy's a genius. But then on the other hand, he had like the idea of like an early spin kind of being the opposite. But so I feel
right.
like Bob Spazzoff like early spins a lot, kind of how his feet are like tucked up to the side and his feet are kind of ahead of his upper body. But then it switches and he kind of creates like a late spin after that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. When you're watching Bobby, maybe that can help you kind of conceptualize what he's doing. But it
Yeah,
seems like
I need to
his lower
study
body.
him. I need to study his spins cuz he's doing
Totally.
some interesting things with his upper body.
Yeah.
He does crazy
Yeah.
things with his lower body, but I feel like a lot of the madness is actually his upper body. The way he can control his shifties and
Yeah.
his legs is because he's doing something like interesting with his upper body, where he's controlling his momentum in a way. I have to go study that shit.
Totally. Yeah, I know. I mean, it goes back to the theme of the podcast. Skating is infinite, and trying to
It
figure
really
this
is.
stuff out is really fun, but he's on like his own level. Like, and the set slides that he does and everything are just amazing.
Yeah. I feel like a lot
And
of that cess slide stuff, like you either have it or you don't. Like it's very difficult for a non-cess slider to become a cess slider.
Right.
But I feel like there's other things. There's other things you can break down, and you can kind of figure it out in a way.
Yeah.
But there's other things that seems like are just mysterious, and you either have it or you don't.
And cess slides. Do you know who had the cess slides? Joel Beaver.
He did.
Yeah,
he had the cess slides. He had them figured out. And then there's a difference between like cess slides and then wheel slides. So there's certain people who are really good at the wheel slides.
Yeah.
Which is, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's a similar body position, maybe, in points, but getting in and getting out is different.
Yeah, the contact and the friction, like there's such a different feel between the two. Like being down on the boot, sliding on the plastic, as opposed to the urethane. Although they're definitely like, there's a relationship there.
Yeah.
The positions are very similar, but yeah, something different. Eric Garcia is another amazing cess slider.
Good cesser.
Yeah.
Really good.
One thing I could never do, like I could kind of do cess slides on something that's I'm jumping onto. I can kind of get my body into the right position. But people that can like drop down onto something and cess slide, I find that nearly impossible. Maybe that's one of the...
Yeah. Because jumping and bringing your legs up is almost conducive to like getting into like a royale stance or even different cess sliding positions.
Exactly.
But it almost seems like it's harder on your legs and your knees to like drop down onto it.
Yeah, very difficult.
Because if you're jumping, you're just kind of catching it, as opposed to it's all falling down on you if you're just dropping to it.
Yeah, so then you're crashing down, you kind of project yourself along the surface, so you're actually sliding along. I don't know, couldn't do it. That's one thing.
But I'm lately, I've been thinking about big wheeling a lot, and I've been thinking like that there's more room for me personally to like develop myself in a big wheel sense. Like there's more moves that are like possible for me to push, as opposed to like aggressive skating seems like it's a lot harder for an aging person to like push it.
Completely agree. Yeah. It's hard. Aggressive really skating is so hard. And even if you're just like sessioning like ledges and curbs and grind boxes and that sort of thing, the impacts and the falls, and aggressive skating, you have to be sharp. You know, like your skills really have to be sharp. You can't take off a couple weeks and then be like, okay, like I'm going to go charge front side at this grind rail. Like, no, you're going to eat shit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not going to go well. You know, so it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. For me, putting all that aside, like it's difficult and hard on my body and stuff like that. You know, having the big wheels, there's just so much that you can do that I'm not missing out on anything. I just, you know, just the different movements under your body or just bombing down a hill.
I love that we have that option.
Yeah.
Because it's a newer option for people. I mean, it's always been there, but people didn't recognize it as an option.
No,
like
not
the previous
really.
generation, they would hit the point that you're at and just stop altogether. And be like, well,
just stop skating.
Because I can't like grind this rail like I used to, or I don't get the same pleasure out of doing it, so I'm just done, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's a good retirement.
It's nice that there's different options.
Oh yeah. It's and it brings you back to like when you very first got into skating, because like very quickly we got into aggressive skating and all that mattered was grinding, but there was, you know, that time before when it was just skating, and then, you know, experiencing aggressive, you know, like learning different things and jumping stuff, and then for me, seeing the zero gravity team at the P&E,
Wow.
and then kind of steering that direction. But before that, it was just skating around.
Yeah.
And so it's great to be like in tune with that childhood feeling. Arlo said something like this, I think maybe on the Jump Street podcast. Oh, he said he's just been skating around with his daughter, and he's going to the U of T campus or whatever, like the University of Texas campus, and he's reminiscing about, that set of stairs and stuff like that. I guess same as we do.
Yeah.
But he made the point that it was just like, felt like he was just a kid again, skating around and having fun, jumping things and whatever.
Feels good.
Yeah. And I feel like that's totally where I'm at with my skating. It's
That's
more
exciting.
technical and clean. It's fun. Yeah, man.
It's fun to watch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I like the videos, and usually I can watch them. You know how it's hard to watch yourself? But many of the videos I can watch without cringing hardcore. I can enjoy it and kind of like almost surprise myself. Or, when it's like super snowy weather like it has been here, be able to like watch the video and kind of like get the feeling like I'm out skating.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that, and I get lots of amazing feedback from people all over the world. It's really crazy. But it's nice to hear.
You guys
from
have videos
my
that are like at crazy numbers, like 1.5 million views. Some of your
Totally.
videos.
That video might have 2 million views now. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I haven't checked in a while, but it's getting close.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Lots and lots of views, man. It's awesome. There's so many people out there. There's way more people into skating than we've kind of, I don't know. It's not like we've been led to believe that there's not that many people into it, but I don't know. Kind of in our world, we've seen it shrink, and it hasn't really been what it was. Certainly when, 20 years ago or 25 years ago. But there are so many people out there that are into skating. It's really cool.
It's true.
Yeah.
Different kinds of skating.
Different kinds of skating, totally, yeah. And I feel like I fit into, like, I don't necessarily feel like I'm inspiring teenage boys. I feel like different aggressive skaters, there's like a different market for that sort of demographic. But for me, kind of like the, maybe 25, 30 to like 40, 50-year-olds. My skating like really appeals to that demographic. I get like lots of feedback from these sorts of people, and lots of people have watched the videos and sent me messages like, I was so out of shape. I weighed this much, and I watched your videos that got me into skating, and like I've lost 150 pounds or whatever. Like, no joke. Like, these sorts of stories.
That's incredible.
It's really cool. Yeah. The power of YouTube and the internet.
It is insane. It's crazy to think that like over 1 million people watched, one of your watched you skating down the street.
Yeah, I know. That's so crazy.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you picture all of those people in like in a room, sitting, putting in a VHS and like, here, watch this.
1 million people. That's the whole city of Calgary.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a number that's like hard to imagine. But even, it's cool. Like 1 million views, like awesome. Like it's a dream come true. Well, I don't know. I never really dreamt it, to be honest, but
yeah,
that was always kind of, that's kind of like a magic number for like number of views. Like you get 1 million views.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a neat, like little gold star pat on the back. But, if you put a video out and 300 people watch it, like the same analogy, imagine 300 people, in your backyard watching your video. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
In our world, yeah. Coming from like having to ship out DVDs and VHSs, 300 is a high number.
Yeah, right. If you sold
like
300 DVDs, you're doing amazing.
You're doing great.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy to go back through your guys' catalog, hey? Having all those videos captured from when you were 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
20 years worth of videos.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
it
cool.
is awesome.
It's like, I love going back and watching the old ones. I'm in like a few of them, so it's always like, yay, that's kind of cool. It's always a fun skating with you guys and having Joey filming. So you're like, oh, if I get in the video, like I know it's going to be a good video.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's cool to have. It's like, it's neat that you guys have that captured.
Oh yeah.
And it's out there too.
Yeah.
Like,
available.
Totally open book.
Yeah.
Available. No one can look back.
Yeah, we always dreamed about like a YouTube. Like we would always talk, like, wouldn't it be great if like every video was online? What if you could just watch every video? And that's actually the world we live in. Yeah. Every video is available, pretty much.
And then sometimes I'm like, I have nothing to watch. What's my problem? It's like hitting things. Like, damn, I just go to bed. Yeah.
Dude, this was a lot of fun. We've done 2 hours of this.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to keep talking, but 2 hours is plenty. But okay, when I saw you in Kamloops this summer, you said that this past summer was supposed to be like your chance to get out and go to these different events, and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So please, I really hope that traveling will be a thing next summer.
Me too.
So when you start planning these things, let me know.
Okay.
So fingers crossed, maybe I can make some of these trips also.
Yeah,
we can
that would be
like a force out there.
Hell
representing Canada.
I really wanted to come to a skate cross event.
The skate cross. Oh dude, that was fun.
Skate cross would be so fun.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that was cool. I had we'll have to talk about that another day.
For sure. Because did you win? You did really well at one, didn't you? At Millennium?
Yeah. So the first kind of big one that we put on, I ended up winning. So Sebastian Lafargue from Seba Skates and that now FR Skates came and stayed with me for a week and helped me kind of put on the event. So learning so much from him, and then Anthony Poitier and Anthony Finisciario were in Calgary. Okay, well done. That was amazing. I love those guys. It was cool. And they were so much faster than anyone else there. They just had perfect technique. It was amazing. It was you know how we talked about always having one foot in front? That's how most people naturally ride. Yeah. But they were almost lined up parallel. So they were able to put full power through both legs as they're pumping around. It was amazing to watch.
Whoa.
But in the final heat, qualified along the way. I made it to the finals. Anthony Poitier's there. He qualified first. Of course, he should win. But we turned one corner. He tripped on the rail, and I passed him, and I ended up winning.
Nice.
So I beat Poitier in a race.
Yes.
Got lucky.
Hilarious. I feel like I watched the winning run.
Yeah, there's a really good
someone
edit.
Showed it to me on a camera.
Okay.
I feel like on the way back from some trip, Leon went to this skate cross at Millennium, and then some people came to my house on the way back or something, and I feel like I watched you win this in my backyard.
Yeah. I was taking it serious that day. Sick. We were there super early in the morning setting the course up and had a lot to do to get everything ready to go.
Yeah.
But the first thing I did was put brand new wheels on my skates. I'm
nice.
The course can wait. I got to tune up my skates, be ready to go.
Yeah. It looks like a lot of fun.
It was fun. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was cool. It just never really caught on. And it was kind of one of those things where I was dang, all the same people are coming year after year. So it's not really getting new people into it. And less people are coming year after year.
And you would think with the popularity of crushed ice, Red Bull, those ice events, you would think
I would definitely reach out to as many people as I could from that world.
Yeah.
And no, they weren't that interested. There was a
Yeah.
few. There was a few, definitely. But yeah, they weren't generally interested in it. I don't know. I think they come from like more of like a hockey ice skating background. So
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't really make sense. I feel like that's the
Maybe
perfect
like the
crossover. But
rollerblading stigma.
maybe, yeah. Maybe there was something there. I never put my finger down on it. It was hard to tell.
Maybe now it would pick up a little bit more.
I think so.
People are a bit more open minded to rollerblading.
Totally.
There was
Yeah,
that
everything has
stigma.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like like yeah, there definitely was a stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
And
It's like
I don't
rollerblading's
know.
not gay if it's hockey.
That's true. That's the way you get around it.
You gotta have a stick. You gotta have some hockey pads.
You got to have gloves on,
Yeah.
and yeah. There's a few guys that you see ripping around Calgary here, um, in like hockey skates. Awesome skaters ripping around, looks amazing. Um, but for some reason, there's a couple guys that wear hockey gloves when they're out skating. I've seen these guys twice. Maybe that was just randomly it happened and I saw it, but I'm like, that's kind of interesting.
Well, here, like a long time ago, I showed a video to a guy that I worked with. This was many years back. And his comment after watching it was like, I don't know how you guys skate without hockey sticks in your hand. I have to have a hockey stick in my hand. I'm like, well, what if you're not playing hockey? He's like, I still got to have a stick in my hand.
Right.
It's like a... It's like a defense. It's like your mask, your social mask is like, I got this stick. Okay, I'm not just skating around. Okay, like no pansy. I got this stick. This is manly business. Okay, I'm training for hockey. Okay, and it's like crushed ice. It's like, no, we're hockey players. We're not. It's cool. Don't worry.
I would, in his defense, I would say that like, I guess when you play hockey, there is a different feel to holding the hockey stick.
I guess, yeah, and you get used to that, right?
So he doesn't feel complete. So maybe
like, what do I do with these hands? What, I'm just flailing around. I can't just. I gotta hold this stick. Arms? Yeah. Swinging my arms like a pansy.
That would be amazing. Yeah, yeah. Imagine you like made him do it, and like he just punches himself in the face or something. My hands! I didn't know what to do. He just like dick punches himself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
That's why I have to hold a stick. It's a safety. I've got to put my hand somewhere. So I don't punch myself in the dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, good times.
Definitely. Okay, so fingers crossed.
Let's
we will be skating sometime soon.
Yeah, this summer.
And also come to Calgary, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it's
Bring
on my
the
list.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter really wants to come to Calgary. Go to Calgary.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I would love to see your kids. Yeah,
for sure.
And the whole family. Or just come alone and we'll go skating a whole bunch. That would be great too.
Yes, either way, we'll make it happen.
Okay, I love it.
The future. Thanks a lot for doing this. Brother. This was awesome.
Namaste.
Yes. Love it, buddy. Keep up the good work. Can't wait to see the future edits.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, same to you. Absolutely.
Yes.
The future is bright.
Yes,
especially for Canada in the skate world.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good stuff. Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Adios.
Good night, Shaun.
Peace.